Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich as United Baltic Duchy. Let's continue on from where we last left off. So we're dealing right now with the Forest Brothers and with dualism. We got a lot of problems right now, which is not fantastic. But for the Forest Brothers right now, we are trying to bounty hunt Latvia. Access mission the ticking clock tomorrow. Okay, well let's see what that actually is. I guess tomorrow? And abilities and sabotage, fantastic. Just what we love to see. And you just ordered Argentina. That's okay. So are you just going to constantly tick over? Access mission to taking clock. So you just kind of keep firing over and over and over and over again is what I'm imagining is what's happening here. So we've got some professionalism for our army. After that, let's go for... We cannot do this quite yet. So I guess we can do for the only... We could get political power just by not doing any of these focuses. Which honestly might not be the worst idea. But I mean, actually... What we can do is we can actually save until we have 150 political power. So as soon as we're no longer having our unity coalition, we immediately just retake the Landstag. And everything should hopefully work out okay there. The Revolutionary Latvian Legion. In the end of the Great War, the Latvians, following their Russian comrades, rose up in revolution, creating the Intergalactic Republic. It was unfortunately short-lived, destroyed by German arms, and though many Latvians served in the Bolshevik government, their comrades in Petrograd were defeated as well. Their exiles escaped to the west, where socialist-leaning Latvian communities were already firmly established and accepting them with open arms. Ever since then, under the leadership of Jipets Peters, they assembled the Revolutionary Latvian Legion, a small regiment of trained Latvian exiles ready to return home to instigate a revolution. And now, thanks to German secret services, we have been informed that they have been infiltrating into the duchy, joining the Forest Brother uprising, and bringing critically important equipment to the resistance. They're trained in forest warfare and are well prepared and pose a serious threat, even if there are few of them. What should we do? Lose 1,000 manpower and support equipment. War support goes up no matter what. I mean, how many guns do I have? Negative 7,000 rifles because I'm trying to train up these units. Honestly, we also have no manpower. But actually, I think we have no manpower. Clicking this button really doesn't have any effect on that. So we'll just do it like that. And I think that could be okay. We cannot have the Syndicalist take over the Baltic Duchy. How long does this even take? We have the armistice. It said it expired after 2 months. So we have about 2 months until that actually fires. We're going to get an event in just mere moments. I don't think there's any way we could have stopped this earlier. Expansion of the Vizhmin-based government. The past 1.5 months have been marked by constant guerrilla warfare across the Latvian region. The Bolshevik Landwehr has been completely unable to maintain order in the east. However, their support of the people is not on their side. An East Latvian Estonian rebel caught and executed 5 more leaves their homelands to join the fight in the forest. And now many of the Curonian and Estonian legions have joined the fight as well. Throughout this time, the Latvian and Estonian partisans have been organizing the Latvian Underground Resistance Movement and its networks of secret cells organized under the command of General Janis Karelis and the Association of Latvian National Guard. Whereas the Estonian equivalent is the Armed Fighting Union, headed by Paul August Lilet, but nominally loyal to the Estonian government exile in Stockholm, led by Arthur Sturk. These two Forest Brother governments, cooperating with each other, occupy several parishes in the eastern Litvind and run them practically no opposition, gaining the informal name of the Vizian-based government. The vast guerrilla conflict is upon us. In 2,000 citizens in 2 territories, that seems horrible. And we still have, well, we don't have enough troops for martial law, right? We're missing 7,000, we're missing a ton of stuff. So you know what? The martial law is clearly not working. Let's at least go with secret police. Should get at least some rifles back and some manpower, maybe. And for now, we'll go for concentrated industry 1. Seems okay. And is there anything else we can do here? Yes. Resistance goes down. Climb post goes up by 15. We also get 500 rifles. Resistance activity chance goes down. We really want to just reduce resistance as much as we possibly can. It's resistance minus 10. We're at 50% resistance right now, which is not great. Resistance minus 10%. Let's form you. Because that only seems good for us. So we'll select that option for now. The Free Corps. The news of Forest Brother Rebellion has reached Germany, and thousands of Germans have taken this as a chance to rise up. Nationalist-minded Wild Krieg veterans have begun to organize into armed paramilitary volunteer groups and make their way to United Baltic Duchy. These battalions call themselves the Free Corps. The leaders of these units are colorful in their backgrounds, and so are their followers. But many of them are veterans who never managed to fully integrate back in society after the Wild Krieg, ending up swept up by nationalist associations and romanticize their time in the front. General Hans von Matzenschuss, one of the commanders responsible for the suppression of the Forest Brothers, has been approached by the leader of one of the smaller Free Corps, the former officer of the Bavarian army, and a not-so-successful armistice, Heinrich Himmler. Speaking of the volunteers, Himmler has offered their support in suppressing the Latvians and Estonians, though Muntefel could barely stand the officer's erratic way of speaking and the way he appealed to a weird sense of Aryan brotherhood in almost every sentence. An offer of support is still an offer of support, and so his report arrived to Landswehr headquarters in Riga. Baltic's new groups of volunteers wishing to help. What should be our response? We cannot pick and choose. All help is welcome. Give me 1,000 manpower. That's going to immediately be swept away by the needs of, yeah, the... You know what, we're saying... I mean, 80,000 is a ton. It's way, way, way more than I can possibly actually field. We're at 129 right now. 130. Like, we should be okay. Taking clock's going to fire in another 2 days. Into the fire. Deploying the Baltic countryside, the Free Corps volunteers have spent their time leisurely patrolling the countryside and extorting local villages, often with unnecessary brutality, drawing the ire of the local populace while achieving very little and actually suppressing the partisans. Heinrich Himmler's unit in particular spent more time listening to Bavarian officers' stories than actually going after Latvian resistance. The response of Forest Brothers was swift, attacking from bases in the dense Livland forest. They would always catch the German volunteers unprepared and descend back into the shadows immediately after their strike. More often than not, this is actually distracting me in the background. The catch the German volunteers unprepared and descend back into the shadows immediately after they strike. More often than not, the Baltic Landwehr would only be aware of the battles far after the more prepared battalions came across the remains, and thus they tried to deduce what happened from the dead. As the Landwehr reported, the complete lack of discipline, prevalent intoxication, and lack of any measures against the traps were most common cause of the losses. One of the most numerous unmarked graves now dotting Livland. Baltic German soldiers identified the corpse of Officer Himmler. Like most of his peers, he arrived in the Baltic expecting a cakewalk and subhumans, and yet only found death. So we lose 100 manpower, and you all get more resistance. Oh, fantastic! Great. Thanks, Himmler. You've really improved the situation here by being horrible. The average resistance is 52%. I can't request garrison support, right? You don't have the manpower to give us. Does anybody have the manpower to give us? You don't. Nope, nobody has manpower to spare. You really don't have any manpower at all? Oh, you actually don't. You have 0. Never mind. I was thinking that you probably had a lot, but no, you actually have 0. What about you? You also have 0. What's wrong with all of you? I know I also have 0, but still. Like, at least I have an excuse. I have to deal with this whole rebellion issue. What's your excuse? Why have you done nothing for me? It's really a great question, isn't it? The ticking clock is going to fire again. 54%. So you have 60, 60, 50 in the south. Riga is considered a completely core, so it's not rebelling against us. So 50%. Base value is at 2%. Force Brothers plus 25%. Low stability. We're at negative 14. I mean, that's fair. And Force Brothers is another plus 30. Secret place is scaled by 5% due to garrison fulfillments. If only I could... You know what? I guess we have to delete all these units for now. It really sucks. But we kind of have to. Embolden resistance, organize resistance. What if I don't have an agency so I can suppress my own internal resistance? We're still missing 67,000 manpower. So yeah, they just immediately get swept back in. And I have no foreign support, of course. Very little compliance. All of those are bad for us. I shouldn't need to explain that. After that, 58%. Estonia. I mean, it's just the average. German citizens will be 75%. On the other hand, the situation will be critical mass and probably lead to like the Civil War events that can fire, which seem horrible. How bad is this affecting us? The dualism. Stability, weekly stability is actually going down. Political power gain minus 100%. All those are pretty bad. Ireland. Do you have any? You also have no manpower. Does anybody on Earth have manpower that can possibly afford to spare me? Like I need the help, or at least guns. Can you give me guns at least? How many guns am I missing? I'm missing 4,000. Can you give me guns at all? Thank you! Okay, so we can at least maybe get some rifles from you. Request a Lend-Lease must be a war. So why would you actually send me a Lend-Lease then? The German Empire must be a war. So I'm guessing Germany would do it because we're their puppet? That makes the most amount of sense. I do appreciate a big deal. Because that will at least make our situation a little bit better. The armistice of the National Unity concludes. After 2 months, the armistice of National Unity has concluded and the Battle of the Landstag returns to normal. Our worst fears have turned out true. While we were focused on suppressing the Forest Brother movement, Land Marshal von Eugen Sternberg and Knight Captain Pilar von Peterchu have been working hard to undo everything we've been working for. The alliances we once made have been rendered null and void. Our support among the Landstag's lobbies dipped to a new low point. We defy a new support base should we wish to rebuild. Set political power to 0. Well, why don't I just click this button right now? Well, I've shown you, game. I've shown you. The liberal dream endures. Land Marshal Rolf van Urban Sternberg's gambit has not paid off. In a political battle which has taken months, Chairman Friedrich von Samson Hemojurna has formed an enduring coalition within the Landstag, formed our allies and trusted confidence he has made through concessions and compromise, which has finally given him the necessary political capital to act. The Landstag Assembly today to vote for no confidence in the incumbent Land Marshal, a vote which was narrowly passed to dismay of the Conservatives and the reactionaries. However, lacking sufficient support from the Parliament and finding no help in the political neutral Duke, they can only complain and mutter between themselves. In his departing speech, Land Marshal von Eugen Sternberg asserted that his political purge will not take off the restraints from Schliemann and the party. The 4 knighthoods, the courts, and the Duke will have to carry on the torch of moderation and tradition from here on out. However, he did not try to fight the results, and he will have been replaced with a loyal member of the DBDP, allowing the normal government work to resume at last. 30% stability. We have maybe done something. How's resistance looking now? It should start to drop. Because stability, I mean, low stability is still bad. It's still very bad. But it could be worse. Actually, you know what? I bet I could have done one of these other things here too. Stability minus 5%. Stability minus 5%. Well, wait until we have 5 more. The uprising is definitely not defeated. We're at 57%. Let's make concessions to some of you guys. Seems okay. That means I should also be able to take some of these folks now. Like power plus 50. Stability going up. Yeah, no, I really feel like I need some stability right now. Please and thank you. Germany, can you give me even more guns? The Lend-Lease is now 1457. When are you going to give me the guns? That's also like an important question. Is when will they be in my hands? Because that's something that I need to know. Because these guys, like I could theoretically disband the army. Does that make the situation a little bit better? We're now missing less rifles. So that seems okay. We have 1 territory that has the number going down. Fantastic. It's still very, very, very bad. I don't think I need to explain that. You're 4. You'll be done in 3 more days. Poland has fallen to cynicalism. The Totalists have taken over. We'll see if the Germans decide to intervene, which they will sometimes do. To get 13,000 manpower. We're only missing 700 rifles now. Germany. We can always request Lend-Lease from equipment from a master. Okay. It'll lower autonomy. I don't care about that even remotely. Can I import steel? No. We still have Black Monday, right? Yeah, Black Monday is still completely crippling the country. Everything is kind of bad. And 10% stability here, so actually you probably want to eliminate unnecessary honorifics now. Follow that up by the permanent government commissions. All of that seems good. We're trying to make more guns. We actually have a positive amount. We actually have... We have all the things we need. It's actually decreasing. We might solve our problems soon enough. Make more concessions to Latvian intellectuals. Just concession. It's fine. Resistance target 29%. Base value 35. So it's going to go down. It needs to get down below 25, right? Uh-huh. Or 58. But, you know, I think we have the situation under control now. I think, now that we have stability, it's at 24%. We're no longer... I mean, still technically have low stability because it's, I think, below 50, but it's not so bad. Newbie finished it. We're still in 1936, by the way. Like, we're still not even done the first year of the campaign. After that... I mean, it's just the average. But we'll make concessions to the Estonian... Could your resistance 5? Compliance. Let's do a little bit of hunting in Estonia. Bounty hunt, bounty hunt, bounty hunt. So I think after the Forest Brothers are gone, everything should remain somewhat steady. And then Germany will give us guns. And when Germany gives us guns, then we will be able to train up an army. Because we still have to fight the Russians at some point. Like, that's going to happen. One way or another, we're eventually going to be at war with the Russians. And being on the border with Russia, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. What about, Finland has not gone national populist, so Finland's probably going to join the Reichspakt. Sweden hasn't had their election quite yet, so we don't know exactly which way they're going to go. So if they stay conservative, they'll probably join the Reichspakt. If you guys, you could either join, if you're liberal right now, you can either join the Entente or maybe join the join the Internationale in the future. Not that Norway matters too much. But overall, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Relative to where we were at the beginning of this episode. At the beginning of the episode, we were in dire straits. I think we'll go for... I mean, the cap right now. You're not at your cap, so that doesn't actually do anything for us. Construction speed I also don't think really matters. So we're going to go for radio. Once you're done, we'll probably go straight into Concentrate Industry 2, because it's really good for us. I can tell you scenario is modified -50% due to being a puppet. Not great. And you'll be done tomorrow. Lovely. So we want to immediately go down to you. 170 days is not that bad. 1938, though, is a little bit expensive. And you guys do have artillery just default in you, right? Yes. So because you have artillery, we want to immediately go for interwar artillery. Make our units as good as we possibly can. We have absolutely no steel. Which seems bad. After that, let's do... We have 100 political power now. Let's do... more bounty hunting, maybe? Yeah, more bounty hunting in Estonia. We can maybe change something here as well. We can probably go straight up to, our war's worth at 39%. Which is pretty good. You now have 36% stability. Consumer good factor going down would be nice. Can't do this till we deal with the Forest Brothers. So I guess we'll just go for another stability boost. Please and thank you. Yeah, and us fixing our stability problems is definitely helping out our resistance. So I think at this point, the conflict with the Forest Brothers has resolved itself. Which is just fantastic. Stability minus 5%. You do lower resistance 500 by 5% in every province, which is good for us. Ability resist activity chance. Decay speed. You know what? Because you are actually decaying right now. I will do this one. It's a little bit risky. And you're going back up now. Why are you increasing again? Your base value is 35. Resistant target is at 43. Because 43 is where it wants to rest at right now. Victory points. Rollers at peace. Local police force. Compliance. November 5th. Okay, we haven't got this one. Okay. Today on November 5th, 1918, the Joint Land Council of Livin, Istvan, Ausla, and Riga, elected earlier that year, made the decision to proclaim the independence of the United Baltic Duchy from the collapsing Russian state and appoint the Regent Council, headed by the Land Marshal of Livonian Knighthood, Adolf Pilar von Pilchu. Though the original document calls for the United Baltic Duchy to join with the German Empire in a personal union, the proposal, which was ultimately never accomplished in full, this date is considered to be the day of independence for the United Baltic Duchy and has been marked by celebrations across the entire country. I don't know if that's true, considering the fact that there's a whole, like, civil war basically happening, but whatever you say. But I do think that for right now, it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Swim. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. And not do it, thumbs down. You want to more, subscribe, and goodbye.